Pakistan Air Force can best be described in the words of Sir Winston Churchill, 2019 and 2025. Pakistan Air Force had been developing software systems, creating data links, creating a formidable chain of weaponry in which multi-domain warfare would prevail. On 10th of April 1959, an Indian Air Force Canberra came on Eid Day and was flying at a height of 55,000 feet, and it thought that it would catch Pakistan napping. The same is true for 1965. Dogar brought it back safely and he was awarded the first SJ for Pakistan. In 1948, when the Kashmir War was on, Pakistan Air Force got the first SJ when we defended a Dakota, India and Pakistan. Bravery of our fighter pilots, of our engineers, of our air defense controllers. Pakistan Air Force can best be described in the words of Sir Winston Churchill, who said about the Royal Air Force at the end of the Battle of Britain, that never in the history of mankind has so much been owed by so great a people. And that is true for Pakistan Air Force, that is the factor which is between India and Pakistan in the defense of Pakistan and ensuring that the very, very nefarious designs of the army, of the Indian armed forces, can never be fulfilled in overpowering or suppressing Pakistan. The same has been true right from the very beginning. In 1948, when the Kashmir War was on, Pakistan Air Force got the first SJ when we defended a Dakota aircraft which was attacked by Tempest aircraft. It was fired upon by 4 Tempest fighters of the Indian Air Force. But then Flight Lieutenant Dogar brought it back safely and he was awarded the first SJ for Pakistan Air Force. On 10th of April 1959, an Indian Air Force Canberra came on Eid Day and was flying at a height of 55,000 feet, and it thought that it would catch Pakistan napping or celebrating Eid, but it was in for a shock. We sent in 2 fighter aircrafts and they were F-86 Sabre, which were far below the level of the B-57, or rather the Canberra, but they managed to shoot it down and its pilot was captured alive as well as its navigator. The same is true for 1965. Again, we had an Air Force which was far less in numbers and far inferior in the quality of the aircraft. But the bravery of our fighter pilots, of our engineers, of our air defense controllers, and most importantly, the words of wisdom which had been imparted upon by the founder of the nation, that Pakistan Air Force must be an Air Force which will be second to none, and the message which was carried through by Air Marshal Asghar Khan, his successor Air Marshal Noor Khan, and so on. Pakistan Air Force has been building itself. In 1965 war, it gave a befitting reply to India, stopped it on its tracks, and gained air superiority over a far superior Air Force. In 1971, the results were not true as far as the results are concerned, because we lost East Pakistan and we lost a wing. But unfortunately, history tells the same story. But as far as the Air Force is concerned, one fighter squadron, number 14, it defended solely against 10 squadrons of the Indian Air Force, fought bravely for 3 whole days, inflicted heavy damages, but after that it was declared unusable because the runways had been cratered very badly. But in the west side, we gave a very befitting reply. But we never rested on our laurels. We have been building our Air Force. In 2019, in February, the Indian Air Force sent a sneak night raid called a surgical strike with 12 Mirage 2000. We just, in their confusion, dropped bombs and went back, but causing no damage, except to a few pine trees, of course. But the next day, Pakistan Air Force struck back. In the morning daylight hours, we targeted their command headquarters and we fought air battles in which one Su-30 was shot down. Its wreckage landed in the Indian occupied Kashmir, and a MiG-19 was shot down, which wreckage landed in Azad Jammu Kashmir. Its pilot, Wing Commander Abhinandan, was captured alive. But again, this was not a fluke. Pakistan Air Force had worked on a strategy in which it will be able to overcome a far superior Air Force. And we did that. Mr. Modi ruled the fact that the French state-of-the-art Rafale had not been acquired by then. Otherwise, they would have given us a befitting reply. 6 years down the line, 2025, Indians thought that now they are armed to the teeth. They had got the Triumph Russian air defense system S-400, against which they say that even a bird cannot escape undetected. They had acquired 36 Rafales and also Meteor missiles, and they thought time is now ripe to teach Pakistan a lesson. So again, they staged a false flag operation and they attacked Pakistan by blaming it. And on the night of 6th and 7th of May, the Indian Air Force, they came in huge numbers. Nearly 100 aircraft were airborne from their side. But this time they did not dare to cross the international boundary line. And using standoff weapons, they targeted mosques and houses and madrasas and residences, claiming that these are mujahideen and terrorists. But they were in for a surprise. 27 Pakistan Air Force aircraft were scrambled to get them, and they fired their standoff missile from a range of about 150 kilometers. First of all, they jammed the Indian Air Force. The fighters didn't know what hit them, and 3 of their state-of-the-art Rafales, 1 Mirage 2000 and 2 MiG-29s were downed. That is no mean achievement. The Indian Air Force was grounded after that. But seething with anger, the Indians retaliated on the night of 10th of May and attacked full bore on our air bases and military targets. And this time again, they did not cross the international boundary but used standoff weapons. But Pakistan Air Force was ready for them. And we retaliated with surface-to-surface missile systems, fighter aircraft, which were launched targeting 2 of their S-400 systems, which are taken out, and the air bases. But more importantly, in the meanwhile, in the 5 years or 6 years which elapsed between 2019 and 2025, Pakistan Air Force had been developing software systems, creating data links, creating a formidable chain of weaponry in which multi-domain warfare would prevail. And we caught the Indians by surprise, and we jammed everything possible. The Prime Minister's Office of India was jammed, the Ministry of Defense was jammed, all their air bases were jammed, all their missile systems were jammed, the airlines were jammed, the railway system were jammed, the electric supply system was jammed. The Indians didn't know what has hit them. And this was all done in silence by youngsters who had been trained to create such a scenario. And now the Indians didn't know what to do except for beg Donald Trump to get a ceasefire. Now the question arises that after having been exposed to what Pakistan can do, the Indians will be planning, and they will be planning heavily. Prime Minister Modi says that Operation Sindoor is at a pause and they will strike back. Yes, they will strike back. They are now thinking of what to do. They are trying to build a iron dome like the Israelis did. They are trying to get more systems from the USA or from the Russians with the what we call the 5th generation aircraft. But what they do not know is that Pakistan Air Force's resolve, its strategy, its planning, and most importantly, its reliance on the will of Allah and the might of resolve of its people cannot be matched. It has friends like China, it has friends like Turkey who are there to back it up. We have seen that the Chinese, they must be gleeful, and I paid a visit to China just after this incident in June, and I was very pleased to meet very senior counterparts of the Chinese Air Force and Armed Forces, who were very happy that their state-of-the-art technology had been tested in the battleground over South Asia. But most importantly, the question is, what will the future reveal? We just saw a glimpse of what the Chinese have achieved in the 80th anniversary celebrations of the liberation of China from Japanese occupation. It was such a sight for sore eyes to see the might of China, which was put on display. And President Xi Jinping was there, and so was Putin, and so was Kim Il-sung of North Korea, and many other world leaders, including our own. But the important thing was the hardware which was on display. But what was perhaps not shown was the software that is behind it, the satellite systems that have been put in place, the artificial intelligence networks that have been created. These have created a shock and awe in the world, which is watching, and a glimpse of it was seen on the night of 6th and 7th May, and again on the 10th of May 2025 in the short war between Pakistan and India. But much more is yet to come. So the world, do not take Pakistan for granted. We are a force to reckon with, and the Pakistan Air Force is there to guard the Pakistanis so that they can sleep safely. Thank you.